Happy Tuesday morning to you, and welcome to Mindful Movement with AARP Alabama. I am your host, Margie Curry, and again, we are with our wonderful yoga instructor, Becca, who has been practicing and teaching yoga for more than 20 years. AARP empowers people to choose how they live as they age. AARP is a nonpartisan 501c4 organization that has over 420,000 members in Alabama. AARP's role is to advocate for those 50 plus and their families. AARP is committed to offering opportunities for people to stay engaged from their homes. The Mindful Movement series provides an opportunity for you to keep moving in the comfort of your own home. Becca.
Hey, Margie, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. What you got going for us today?
Well, Margie, today I wanted to go back and revisit sun salutations. Now, we've done these throughout the couple years that we've been doing this program. I do it every so often. A sun salutation is a kind of repetitive sequence that's kind of a tradition within yoga. There's lots of different variations of the sun salutation, and it's just a real nice way to get the whole body moving, and there's lots of adaptations. So I'll be explaining along the way, different choices that you and our listeners might make about how they're going to move their body today.
Yeah, we have done sun salutations again. So that's great to bring it back to our memory. Folks, remember that before you begin any exercise routine, please consult with your physician to make sure that it is safe for you to participate. All right, Becca, take it away.
All right. Well, as I mentioned, sun salutations are a great way to get some energy, to warm up the body, to get it moving. Again, it's a sort of a classic within the yoga tradition in terms of the physical practice, which is mainly what we're focused on here. And we'll be using our chair, but I'll also be showing options to do the sun salutation on the floor if you want to. So there'll be a couple of choices for you with regards to how you do the sun salutation. We're going to start with a little warm-up breathing and a little bit of movement for the body just to get us going, okay? So the breath practice that I want to do with you today is called Breath of Joy. That's one name for it. Some people might call it something a little different. We're going to do a seated version, all right? It's got some arm movements that are optional. If you want to leave out the arm movements, you can, but the arms look like this: up, out, up, and then down. And when you come down, you can even fold forward if you want to. And that's going to be the exhale. The breath of joy is 3 quick inhales through the nose, and then exhale kind of from the gut, from the back of the throat on that exhalation. A little bit of sound there. Okay, so the movements would go inhale, 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 exhale. And we're going to do it 5 times and just see how we feel. Now, if at any time you get a little, lightheaded, or you just don't like the way that breath is working for you, just stop and go back to natural breathing. That's always an option. And remember, you can do the breath without the arms if you choose. Okay. All right. So let's sit tall. Get those arms ready if you're going to use them. Here we go. Breath of joy 5 times. One more. Now just sit tall and take a deep breath in. And let it out slowly and just observe. What do you notice in your body? Did that, create any sensation? Maybe a little tingle in the hands, or again, maybe a little sort of, buzzy or lightheaded feeling around the head, or hyperventilating when we do that. Maybe you also notice a little more heart, beating, heart rate has elevated a little bit. That's the purpose of it. But if you had any reason that you didn't want to do that, you would skip that breath. Let's do it one more time. 5 rounds, breath of joy. Here we go. One more. And then sit tall. Slow breath in, slow breath out. Again, check in. What do you notice? Can you feel your heart beating a little more? Are you feeling like your blood's flowing a little bit? All right, well, let's keep on going. All right, let's roll those shoulders. Like I said, we're just going to do a couple warm-up moves here in the chair, and then we'll come up and start our sun salutations, and I'll be showing you a couple different variations of them so that you can choose. All right, now reach the arms out in front, circle those wrists a few times. Open and close those fingers. And then go ahead and pull the arms, the shoulders, the elbows back and get a little arch there in your spine. And then push forward and try to get a little more rounded. Now let's do this with breathing. Inhale, pull back. Exhale, push forward. Inhale, pull. Exhale, push. 3 more. Now, as always, you're allowed to make your movement smaller or bigger depending on what feels right for your energy level and for your body on any given day. Last one. And bring those arms down to the side. Let's get the legs warmed up a little bit before we stand. All right, so sit tall. You can feel free to hold on to your chair if you want. And we'll do some marching, picking up that knee as high as you can without leaning or rolling back on your buttocks, right? So stay right on the top of your sit bones there. Now let's try to just make a little circular motion, right? So bring that knee up and around and back to center, up and out and back to center. So again, chair limits us a little bit, but just make the biggest movement that you can comfortably make today with your hips. All right, now let's go the other direction. Move it out, up and back to center, out, up and back to, just circling still, but going, the other direction around our circle. I always like to go both directions because, our brain tries to go for whatever's efficient and easiest. And so we'll tend to, make a circular movement always in the same direction because that's just the natural way for us or what feels easy. It's always good to challenge our brain and our body to do it the other way as well. All right, now let's move on down and just get the legs and the feet loosened up. Take one leg and bend and straighten at the knee joint. Good. Let's keep that foot forward, although you can also put it down on the ground if your leg's a little heavy. All right, point and flex. And circle. Now you'll notice I have my socks and shoes off today, although my feet are a little chilly, but I think I'm going to warm up enough. But you can do these sequences with socks or with shoes on. Of course, we want to make sure you're not going to slide, so make sure your socks are not going to create that's what works for you. All right, bend and straighten at that other knee. Still try to sit up tall. All right, keep that foot forward or let it rest on the ground. Point and flex. Make a few circles. And go the other way, of course. All right, now I'm actually going to show 3 different versions of the sun salutation. I'm going to start out actually showing it on the wall, okay? Now, if you don't have a wall nearby that you could use, you'll pretty much be able to do it from the chair. I just want to show that option for people who may decide doing it on the chair is a little, to the chair. And then I'll also show it down to the ground, right? So that everyone can choose. Now, if you happen to know a sun salutation routine of your own and you want to sort of jump into doing it the way that you prefer, please feel free to go ahead. All right, so I'm going to start with, facing the wall. I'm going to do this round at the wall. So we'll stand up tall first and just find those feet, find the crown of the head and lift up. And then take a breath in, reach the arms overhead. And then bend the knees and just fold forward and you just let the hands come to the wall. Now this allows you to stay up if bending all, farther forward is not comfortable. But even if you're using the wall, you could bend further down if you wanted. All right. And then we're going to just kind of push into the wall and lift the chest up. And then fold it down. All right, and then hands on the wall, or you may be putting your hands on the chair if you're doing that version. All right, and I'm stepping one leg back while I've got the other leg forward. All right, so hands are either on the wall or on the chair, or you always have the option to come off with those hands, maybe raise them in the air. Good, one more breath here. All right, and then I'll get ready to push into the wall or push into the chair. And then I'm going to step back, have those feet, side by side, about a hip distance apart, and push back with those hips. Now, I feel like my feet are a little too far back, so I'm actually going to walk them in just a little bit so that they feel like they're underneath my hips. All right, and I'm pushing into the wall or pushing into the chair. All right, one more breath. This is our downward dog, okay, our version on the wall at least. Now we shift to plank. So here, this might be one of the reasons why people choose the wall, because maybe plank on their hands in the chair or on the floor is too much pressure on their wrists or their shoulders. You can always bring your hands up a little higher if you're feeling too much pressure on your wrists. Now push nice and firm and tighten up that belly, tighten up those buttocks, and make your whole body a nice straight line. Take 2 more breaths here. All right, and then push back to the downward dog. And then we're going to step the other foot forward. So now we've got that lunge on the other side, pushing back through that back heel, getting a good squeeze in that buttock. Again, hands can stay on the chair or the wall, or you have that option to reach them up. All right, and now we finish out this sun salutation. I'm going to step back a little bit with that front foot, step forward with the other foot, lift up my chest, and then bend the knees and fold down any amount. And then shift my weight back. I'm coming off of the wall or off of the chair into chair pose, like I'm sitting in a squat. And then rising up tall, maybe with a little back bend stretch at the top. And then hands to the heart. Pause and check in. All right, so if you liked that version, stick with it, right? So just keep right on going with that. You'll recognize, some of the same pose names and cues, all right? Feel free to get creative. You're not, it's not possible to do it wrong, so don't worry about that. If you're moving, you're paying attention, you're breathing, then we're all good. All right, second version at the chair. All right, so standing tall, I'm going to use the seat of the chair as my platform, much like I used the wall as my platform a moment ago. All right, inhale and reach up. Exhale and fold it down. Again, you can stop at the chair, or you could decide to fold further down towards the floor. And then hands on the chair, inhale, and we lift what's called a flat back. So straightening the knees any amount, flattening the back, and then softening and folding back in. All right, so again, I'm going to step one foot forward, the other leg back, taking that lunge position. Now, there's a lot of things we could do with lunge, right? So staying hands on the chair is one option. Taking one arm up or both arms up is another option, right? That demands a little more work out of your legs, a little more balance out of your system. All right, now let's transition. We're stepping to downward dog next. So those hands are on the wall or on the chair. Step that other leg back. Push back through the hips, lengthening out the arms, lengthening out the spine. I'm just taking a couple breaths here. You might move a little bit in your downward dog, shifting one knee straight and one knee bent a couple times. All right, here comes our plank. All right, so shifting the weight forward, getting into that push-up-like position. I'm pushing against the chair seat here, or if you're on the wall, you're pushing strong into the wall. Firm up those legs, really push back with the thighs. Pull in and up a little bit with your belly. That kind of happens automatically if you're holding yourself here. We just want to make sure that we don't sink. We don't want to let those hips sink. We want to keep them up. All right, enough of this plank. Shift back so we can transition. So push back to downward dog. Step your other leg forward. All All right, so I'm still pushing with my back leg, keeping it strong. I can choose to stay on the chair, or I can choose to raise those arms up. And then we're going to release and step it back in. All right, back into flat back. And then fold, soften those knees, drop it down. Just take a couple of breaths here. If you're using the chair, it's kind of nice because you can prop your head and your arms on the chair possibly. Of course, it does depend on your body proportions and, if that's a fit for you. But if it is, you might try it. All right, and then we shift the weight back into the heels, bend the knees and sit the hips back. Take your time getting your balance, bringing those hands away and maybe up to the heart, or you could choose to reach them overhead. And then we rise up strong, push those legs straight, lift for the ceiling, and then bring hands to the heart. All right, pause here. Give yourself a moment of breath. You're checking in. How are you feeling? What did you think of that version? If you tried it out on the wall and the chair, well, then you've got some comparisons to make. Now, like I said, I'm going to show one more version that is on the floor. But if you'd like to keep on using the chair, you don't want to get all the way down to the floor, then keep using the chair or keep using the wall. Again, the sequence is the same. Just the platform for the hands becomes a little different. All right, stand tall. Take a breath. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold forward. The knees are bent. All right, you take those hands down. They may or may not touch the floor. Okay, they could come to your thighs or your shins. All right, then flat back. Push those hands either into the chair, the wall, or up onto your legs, your thighs, your knees. Lift and straighten. And then soften the knees again and fold down. Now, you might have to bend your knees if you're going to the floor. Get those hands down to the floor. All right, maybe fingertips. If you had yoga blocks, those are great to use, okay? And I'm going to step one leg back. Now, one option we have on the floor that you can put your knee down. Okay, so if that back leg wants to drop and have the knee down, go for it. All right, whether the knee is down or up, you could keep your hands low, or you could bring them up or overhead. Remember, that option exists if you're on the chair or the wall as well. You might choose to bring the arms up. You might choose to keep them touching your platform. All right, and then hands come back down to the ground. Here's where we come to downward facing dog. Now, some people like to go to hands and knees first if they're on the floor, and then tuck the toes and lift up to downward dog. That's perfectly fine. All right, so here we are in downward dog on the floor. All right, this puts the head a little lower, puts the weight a little more into the arms. These are some of the differences in using the floor versus using the chair. I'm going to walk it out a few more times here. All right, and here comes plank. So shifting forward, finding your straight line on the wall or on the chair or here on the floor. Push nice and firm. Now again, if you're on the ground, you have the choice to put your knees down. That's a good in-between, right? Progression to, kind of give you some ways to build up your strength or your stamina for plank pose. 2 more breaths. All right, and then push the hips back into downward dog from whatever platform you're on. And then we're going to step that other foot forward. Now here on the floor, again, it might help to put the knees down first and then step that leg forward. Although some people will find they can step forward without doing that. Either way is good. Again, maybe the knee goes down if you're on the floor. Of course, if you're on the chair or the wall, you're staying on that foot. And then your option exists for all of our variations of the sun salutation to maybe raise the arms overhead. And one more breath. If your arms are up, go ahead and bring them down. We're going to step that back foot in. If you're at the wall or the chair, you may want to step the front foot back a little bit, let them meet in the middle. But here we are in our fold, maybe using the chair, maybe, dangling here. In the forward fold over the legs to the floor. And then here comes our chair pose to exit. So sit the weight back. Nice strong legs here. Remember, the hands can stay close to the heart or reach out in front. And then rise up tall. Take a little stretch there, maybe a back bend. And then bring those hands to the heart. Pause and check in. Again, notice your heart beating. Sun salutations tend to get us, get us going, get our heart rate up, get our breathing up, get our muscles and our joints nice and warm. All right, we still got time, so let's do another round of sun salutation. All right, I'm going to do it to the chair. I'm going to pick that sort of, middle road. I love doing my sun salutations to the chair, even though, I can get them to the floor. I often choose to do them to the chair. It's a great way to sneak in a little bit of movement. Sometimes if I've been sitting for a while, working at my computer or whatever, knitting, sometimes reading, I just get up and I go do one sun salutation, or even sometimes just one downward dog to my chair, and it gives me a nice break from sitting, gives me a little bit of mindful movement in the middle of my day. All right, let's do one more sun salutation. Your choice, whether you're doing it at the wall, to a chair, or down to the floor. Stand tall and take a big breath in and out. And then breath in or reach up. Fold forward, soften those knees, take it down. Flat back, lift it up. And then fold. And then lift up a little bit again. Again, step one foot forward, one leg back. Maybe choose to stay hands down in the chair or choose to bring them up. Now, they don't always have to go overhead. Sometimes I like to reach back or to pull back, right? So you could experiment with different arm positions. One more breath. All right, and then come hands back down to your platform, and we'll step it into downward facing dog, lengthening out the arms, pressing back into the hips, maybe doing a little bit of knee shifting, or if you're on the floor in that downward dog, then the heels are usually able to come up or likely to come up. All right, here comes plank pose. Push nice and firm. Good, keep breathing. One more breath here. And push those hips back again to transition. Step the other leg forward. All right, finding that lunge. You can always adjust the back leg, maybe choosing to come up, and then taking those arms maybe overhead, maybe a pull or a reach back. And then release. And let's come back into tabletop or, standing fold. Lift up into a flat back. Hands maybe on the shins or knees or on the wall of the chair. And then soften those knees and fold down. You go as low as you want to go. Maybe use the chair for a little support for your head. All right, and then sit back into those heels, chair pose. Slowly come up with the arms. Hold here for another breath if possible. And then push through the floor, reach up. And then hands to the heart. And pause, take another moment here. All right, now remember, I encouraged you to maybe do some of these movements on your own outside of our, Tuesday morning, 10 o'clock time frame. And, you can always find our recordings on our YouTube channel, AARP Alabama, and on our Facebook page. So you could go back and, repeat these sessions sometime other during the week if you wanted to. All right, let's come back to sitting in the chair. We're going to wind it down. We have a good, just a couple minutes left. We're going to do a couple of additional stretches stretches, and then we'll finish with another breath technique that I like. All right, so let's stretch a little bit. Take one foot out in front, flex that foot so the toes are up. All right, sit tall, straighten the knee, and then just see if you've got any room to lean forward. We're looking for stretch down the back of the leg, maybe into the calf as well. Good. 2 more breaths here. When we're holding a stretch, especially one that maybe feels a little intense, it's important that you check in and make sure that you're still taking a full breath and not sort of holding or restricting your breath. We want our nervous system to feel like it's safe to let this muscle go, let this muscle lengthen out. All right, sit back up tall, same leg. You're going to see if you can bring that ankle foot up and cross it over the other one. Now, this position may be too high for some of our hips. So another option is to stretch out that leg, that's the supporting leg, and cross it somewhere at the ankle or at the foot. Okay, whatever you can do to get a little bit of turn in this leg. And then sit tall and see if there's some room to lean forward. We're looking for stretch in this outer hip or buttock area. Sometimes inner thigh will also feel a little bit of a pull here in this position. Again, check in with your breathing. Can you take a good breath in and out while you hold this stretch? And if you can't, then that's a sign that you should back up a little bit. You should back out of that stretch, make it a little less intense so that you can breathe fully. All right, let's release that. And take it to the other leg. We're going to start with it stretched out in front, heel on the ground, toes up. Sit tall with a straight knee or mostly straight and lean into it. Keep breathing. And then let's sit it back up. Again, you're going to bring that leg and cross it wherever you can cross, up to the thigh maybe, below the knee, or down further on the shin, wherever you need it to be. Sit tall. See if there's some room to lean into it. And then, of course, check in with your breathing. All right, come back up tall, uncross. Now I want you to take your arms back. See if you can grab hold of your chair. Maybe the sides of the back of the chair, maybe the sides of the seat of the chair. Some chairs are designed in such a way that you might end up grabbing sort of the legs of the chair. All depends on your body length and proportion, all right? But we want to try to pull the shoulders back, puff up into the chest, get a little stretch here for the front of the shoulders. We used them when we did those push-ups or those plank poses and those downward dogs. All right, and then release and just roll those shoulders. All right, now the breath technique we did at the beginning, breath of joy, it was an energizing. It's generally going to feel a little bit energizing to people. The breath practice we're going to do here at the end, a humming or a hissing breath, is intended to sort of settle us down, to be a little more calming. All right, so you can simply hum, doesn't matter with the note or the tone, or you can make a kind of a soft hissing sound. Okay, so you choose. We're just going to do it 3 times. It's going to make your exhale a little bit longer, right? And that's going to help us again with the relaxation for our nervous system. So make it soft and slow. Take a full breath in and then slowly, gently hum. And then big inhale again. Soft hum or hiss. One more time. And then just breathe natural, just checking in, noticing how you feel after our session today. We always love to hear your comments. Any suggestions or feedback you want to give us is very welcome. Let's take one more breath in together. Just reach those arms up, bring your hands together in a gesture of gratitude. Always grateful for our bodies and what they can do for us, and for AARP Alabama for giving us these opportunities to move together. Thanks for joining us, everyone, and we hope to see you again on Tuesdays at 10 a.m. for Mindful Movement.
Hey, Becca, thank you. I like that hum at the end. And
Yep.
thank you to everyone who joined us today for Mindful Movement. See you again, and thanks for joining us today. Bye.
Margie, bye, everybody.